welcome to our webinar series for first-time exhibitors. My name is Hannah Smith. I am the social media manager for Redwood Art Group, and I'm joined here today with Eric Smith, President and CEO of Redwood Art Group. We're going to start by introducing you to the basics of exhibiting. Take it away, Eric.
Okay, well, let me just start by saying everyone here on our team at Redwood Art Group, we're here to help you. And you know, your experience is very important to us. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. Okay, so you've reserved your booth. Most of you probably a 4x10 space, a 4x20, a 4x15 space. You've paid your balance, hopefully, because you do not want to get to show site in Miami and owe any money, because you won't be able to set up. So make sure you pay your balance as soon as possible. Balances are all due. They're past due now. So pay your balance. Well, let's start with, you show up on site. So either shipping your work there or you're driving a van or a truck or something to carry your art in. It's easy. You park your car in the parking lot. You walk in, you'll find the operations desk. You'll see Mita, Jeff, Terry, somebody who's working there. You check in, you'll get an exhibitor badge. Once you get that exhibitor badge, they'll tell you where to pull your car up or your truck or your van, and you'll start unloading your art. You'll take it to your booth. If you need help finding your booth, we'll walk you to your booth and show you where it is. The walls are set up, the truss, the lighting is all set up. You bring hooks, a hammer, a step stool, your price tags, your art, your business cards, anything you need to pass out marketing materials. And in the booth, we'll have a chair and a pedestal for you if you're in one of the solo booths, 4x10, 4x15, etc. So that's kind of the easy, kind of shortened crib notes on what to expect. There's a lot more to it than that. You've received an exhibitor manual. There's lots of great information in there. It's long, but it's worth the read. You can see film or videos in there on how to hang your work and logistics and all kinds of things. But let's talk about hanging for a moment. It's probably the most important thing I'm going to talk to you about today. Let's just pretend you have a 4x10 booth, okay? You've got a 10-foot back wall, and you've got pieces that are 36x48. The most you're going to be able to put on that back wall is 2 pieces to make it look really good. If you double hang them, you're going to absorb most of the wall, and it's going to look overcrowded. Then you've got 2 4-foot side walls. So have some smaller pieces, 30x30, 36x36, the biggest pieces, to put on your side walls. But I can't stress enough, do not fill the wall up with art. You will not sell anything. Do you want to know why? Because the people walking by that are art collectors are going to just get too zapped with too many things, and you're not going to catch their attention. You've got 4 to 6 seconds as somebody walks by your booth to capture their attention. I'm going to give you a little story. We just did our Dallas event. There was I'm not going to mention who it was. It was a great guy that was a first-time exhibitor of ours. He had a 4x20 space, and it was overhung. And I walked by on opening the move-in day, and I pulled him aside and I said, "Do you want my advice?" And he said, "Yes, I'd love to have your advice." And we rehung his booth. And he sold 5 pieces when we opened. First day, he sold 5 pieces. People stopped by. It looked great. It wasn't overcrowded. And by the way, we have areas of the show where, I think there's maybe $100 charge or something, but you can store some art. So, you can replace art if you sell it. So don't feel like you have to put everything up and show your whole collection. You don't have to show your whole collection. Just put your best pieces up.
I think that the way you display your booth is almost as important and visually, even as the art that you are putting. So I take a lot of time, even outside my studio, to plan my booth. Once I know the size of my booth, I prepare myself which artworks I'm gonna prepare. Most of the time, I like to prepare new work, and I already know the sizes. And digitally, I kind of do a little booth, and I play around with I curate my booth before even getting to the fair. Now, not always happens that way. Once you're there and you're curating the booth, you change things around, but it has to be very organized. For me, an organized visual booth, eye level, with a lot of white spaces in between, and not a lot of paintings all over the place. That for me is very important. I take that into consideration as my main objective, an organized, visually overall look, because people are going to look at your booth first as, from far away. Oh, that booth looks cool. There's too many things to look around at the fair, so you want to be sure that your booth looks fine.
What makes for a good show, number one, is you want to really concentrate on bringing your best work. And take time, ask your advisors, really curate thoughtfully. And I try to do that. I also think it's important to remember that less is more. If you walk around these shows and look at booths that are perhaps a little busy, a little overhung, my belief is it makes it difficult for a viewer to really focus on a given piece if there's too much right around it. I noticed this between San Diego and Dallas. I had a little more open space in Dallas, and I think the work presented much better.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I think another really critical thing, and it's very hard to be in one of these shows for all these days and not sell anything. But you have to believe. You have to believe in your work and be patient. There's an artist who I've met with in a lot of these shows who does very, very well in many of them. But she told me, I think in Dallas, she didn't sell anything. And she said her mantra is just, don't be bummed. Don't be bummed. Sometimes you're going to sell 5 pieces. Sometimes you're not going to sell any. So I think, those are some key things.
I'm going to be walking around the show. Jeff's going to be walking around. Linda's going to be walking around. Hannah's going to be walking around. Kelly, everybody. And we all know how to hang. And if you need help, we're there to help you hang. Not physically hang the work, but I can definitely lay it out and you can hang it. Look at our hanging video. It's important about the space in between pieces and how they're hung. You don't want pieces cattywampus. They all have to be the same, so on the same level, linear and horizontally. So that's my lecture on. If you have any questions about that, I invite you to email me, eric@redwoodartgroup.com, or you can call me and we can walk through that. But trust me, it is super important. And if you overhang, we're going to make you change it anyway. So if you want to hang your booth twice, go ahead and overhang it. We'll come by and reset it. So it's very important. Booth etiquette. Stand up in your booth as much as possible. Get to know your neighbor. You need to use the restroom, they'll cover for you. You need to go get lunch, they'll cover for you, because you're not allowed to eat in your booth. So you need to go to the cafe and have lunch. We have a number of cafe and bars throughout the show, 4 or 5 of them. So you can bring your lunch, that's fine, but go off somewhere and take 20 minutes and relax, because we have over 40,000 people go through the Miami events, Red Dot and Spectrum. And it's a 4.5, 5-day show. And you're gonna get tired and you're gonna get worn out. And you're going to say, whoa, this is a lot of work. And that's okay. It is a lot of work, but you want to go and relax once in a while and take a little break and feel confident that your neighbor is helping you out. And everybody does, by the way. I mean, it's you know, and you're both artists, and there's a camaraderie there. So they help everybody helps each other out. So stand up in your booth, don't eat in your booth. Be open, ask open-ended questions. Have you collected before? What kind of art do you like? Pop art, abstract, landscapes? Are you from Miami, or did you travel in to see all the events? That's a nice opening question, right? Oh yeah, we came from Rochester, New York, or Philadelphia. That's great. Continue the conversation. Where do you live in Philadelphia? Oh, we live here. What other shows have you attended? Just start a conversation with them, just like you would with anybody. And then, you know, start showing them your work. A lot of sales are made at the show, and people can take art out of the show. If you make a sale, somebody wants to take it with them, bye-bye, take it with you. Pay me the money and take it with you. You can always put another piece up, right? If you need to rehang your booth, you do that before the show, hour before or an hour after, all right? So when the show ends at 8 o'clock, pretty much you're gonna be tired, go home, go back to your hotel, your VRBO or whatever you've rented to stay in, relax, get something to eat, drink a lot of water, and come back ready the next day. If you haven't booked a place to stay yet, do not stay on South Beach. It's a long way from South. It's not normally a long way. It's normally 20 minutes to 25 minutes to get back and forth, if that. But it's an hour and a half during Art Basel Week, Miami Art Week. It takes forever to go across the causeway. So do not stay over there. Stay in Midtown, Biscayne Bay area. You know, Miami downtown is fine. Wynwood's fine. But stay close to the show if you can. I mean, I just had a friend of mine call up. I'm bringing my wife. We're going to stay on South Beach. I'm like, wrong thing to do. You're going to hate it. So keep that in mind. So let's talk about pre-show, during the show, and post-show a little bit. So your expectations, everybody's expectations are high. I'm going to sell out my whole booth. People are going to love my work. Hopefully I don't come back with anything, right? Those are your expectations.
What makes you decide to do a fair like Spectrum Miami with Redwood?
Okay. For me, a successful fair is number one is exposure. If I have a lot of exposure and I have a lot of people coming into my booth, engaging with me in conversation, writing their emails, taking my card, sharing my work in their stories in Instagram, Facebook, for me is 74% of a successful fair. Mm-hmm. Second, the networking. If I get a contact with someone like a gallery owner or interior designer, or even the owners of the fair notice my work, that is for me already in the other side of success. And last but not least is sales, which I don't consider it as important in the fair because a lot of sales come after the fact. So if I have some sales, of course, if I break even or make money, it's just wow. But those three factors are important in my success in the fair.
Let me set your expectations to where you can be successful. If you've never been to the show in Miami before, who knows you? Nobody. So how do you expect to go into town and sell a piece of art to somebody when nobody knows your work? They haven't seen your work, right? But your expectations are you're going to sell everything. You got to pre-plan for that. You've got to think about how you're going to do that. Your expectations should be to find 5 to 10 people that are interested in your work. Maybe they don't buy on site, that's okay. But 5 to 10 people that are interested in your work. Let's do the math on that. We have a lot of people that do multiple shows with Redwood Art Group. They do Miami, they do New York, Santa Fe, San Diego, Dallas, wherever we go. And they've established collectors in each of these cities. So then when they go back the next year, they're calling their collectors. They're calling people that have already bought from them. Easiest person to sell another piece of art to is somebody who's already bought from them. They're calling them up and inviting them to the show, giving them our free tickets, right? So those of you who haven't been there before, who can you invite? How can you drive traffic to your booth in the Miami area? You've got to have some friends down there. Maybe you know family members that have, you know, friends down there, right? Do some research, start asking questions, and send them our link so they can get free tickets to the show, and you can invite them to come see. If you absolutely, and that's the best way to get attendees to the show, collectors, is through your exhibitor base. So if you think about it, we have over 300 exhibitors. If everybody just invited 10 people, there's 3,000, right? What if everybody invited 100? There's 30,000 plus the people that we bring in through our advertising. I mean, you know, the numbers grow exponentially. So, you know, it's your job to invite people to the show. So start thinking about how you can do that.
Tell us, what kind of outreach do you do? I know, you know, you do your outreach to your existing clients, but how do you reach new people?
Okay.
How do you do it?
Well, of course, the first answer everybody's going to say is social media, social media, social media, the first answers. Yes, of course, right? I'm a little bit old school. I developed my own career in success of some very true and tested methods, and that's cultivating an email list or a contact list in a very organic way. And, you know, not unlike the way that I did it, was I just kind of would use Google and the internet to my advantage as a tool. And I started to search people that might be interested in my artwork. Now, in a show like Miami, New York, we know there's going to be a lot of professional art buyers there. And I mean by that, interior designers, corporate art consultants, decorators, project managers. And what I like to do, and I said I started my career this way, is just go on the internet, spend an hour at night with dinner or after dinner when I'm relaxing, and just kind of do a Google search. And, you know, go on and you can find, you know, individuals and look at what their websites or their social media looks like and get their email. And I just kind of send out a hello, an introductory, something short, maybe include a link to tickets to the show if you're already involved in the show. And that, I tell you what, that works wonders. It's personal without being spam or, you know, some sort of a mass soliciting. I'm actually getting away from that in my company. My email list years and years ago was cultivated in very unorganic ways, and they would just list. And I see so many people opting out now because they're just getting so much junk mail. And so I'm going back to an old school method, like I said, that just like a knock on a door, you know, hello, a greeting, and you can do wonders with that. You can, you know, really get people to be interested in your artwork and what you're showing. So that's one method that I use.
Marketing. We do a lot of marketing, and then Hannah's going to talk to you just a little bit right now about social media. Right, Hannah?
Yes. Yeah. Social media is a great sort of teaser to invite people to the show. You can be sharing a little behind the scenes of what you're working on, let them know where and when you will be at the show. You will be there the entire week and weekend, but kind of tagging the location, giving people a very basic outline on where to be and when to be there is the best way to go about social media. We will also be sending you those links that you can share directly to your Instagram stories. You can put them as a link in your bio. So when people want to go register for those tickets, they already have a place to go. And yeah, it's just a great way to invite people. Aside from inviting your friends and family, you can send direct messages to your collectors, people who are interested in your pieces, some of your followers, I would definitely send messages to. So just hyping yourself up as much as you can on social media before the show.
You spend a lot of money on your booth, so do the groundwork before you get there. So that's pre-show. During the show, as I said before, stand up as much as you can. You can't stand up the whole time because you're going to get tired. Stand up, get to know your neighbors, bring a guest book. Those 5 to 10 people that you want to meet, you want to follow up with. So you want them to sign your guest book. You want their email and phone number, minimum. Email and phone number. When they leave, write a little note what they liked next to the book, okay? That's kind of like during the show. If somebody's interested in a piece of your work, let them know that you're going to put a hold sticker on it and hold it for them for that day. Come back later, go get a drink, go get a champagne, whatever, but come back and see the work again because I want you to feel comfortable in buying it.
I do put a display table on the side of the booth, sometimes a nice little console on, sometimes in the front, sometimes in the side, depends on the size of the booth and the painting. And a little console where I put my book, where I put my cards, be sure that they're easy to get to. So if someone wants to take my card and they don't have time to talk to me, they will take my card and, and follow me. A sign, right now Instagram is very important among artists, so I be sure that I have a sign of my Instagram QR code so they follow me. I mean, that's exposure. So it's important to have all those things in your booth.
During the show, how do you ask for a sale? The easiest way to ask for a sale is, Hannah, which credit card would you like to put it on? Easiest way to ask for a sale. If somebody's really interested, and this happened a lot when I had 20 galleries, 105 people working for me at one time, and I would make every one of those people do 2 home shows a month or a week. What's a home show? That's where you take the art to their house. So a lot of people that shop, come to the show, collectors, are from the Miami area. And you certainly can take work out at night and go see them the next morning because we don't open until what, 10, 11, 12, right? So you've got all morning to get some champagne and orange juice and go make them a mimosa and take the work to their house or their condo or whatever if you want to. Post show, after the show, follow up. It's very, very important. And Hannah has heard me say this a million times, but the greatest story we have is a friend of ours that came from a gallery in Texas. He did our show in Miami, did really well. The next year he came back, didn't sell a thing, not a thing. I think he actually sold 1 or 2 pieces, but nothing like the year before where he sold 15 pieces of work. And he was on his way home and our marketing director, Linda, called him and asked him, how he did. And he said, I didn't sell anything. Well, did you have a guest book? Yeah. Well, start calling him. He goes, now, no time like the president. So he's driving home to Texas and he starts getting on his cell phone and calling people, which resulted in 26 pieces of art sold after the Miami event. So if you think about these attendees that are coming, these collectors, they're coming to many shows. There's 14 shows going on, during Art Basel Week. So they don't always buy on the spot, but they see the work, you give them your card, they sign your guest book, follow up with them later. Very important.
And if you're a new time person coming, and this is your first art fair, you want to make sure you don't overhang and don't limit your thinking, because that is the downfall that most artists have. So when you're considering who's in your booth, like if you're in a solo booth, put your best work out. If you're in a booth in another gallery, you put your best work out and you show up and don't interfere with the people who are selling. Just be there to talk about your process. And be open without your arms crossed and smile from beginning to end, because you want to spread love, not fear that you're not making your money back. And as I was saying, I never go into anything thinking, oh, I have to make my money back. I do the numbers before, I decide who I'm showing, and then I go into the show knowing I'm going to come out of it ahead, way ahead.
Just some housekeeping things. There's a show office on site. It's going to be right behind the main entrance in the lobby as you enter. You can always run by there and ask questions. Mark Shapiro will be there. I'll be there. Steve will be there. The reps, people that are, handling your account. There's usually snacks in there like Kind Bars or whoever is sponsoring our event, and water. It's a place you can go and take a break and sit at a round table. You could even bring your lunch there and eat if you like. So, remember to go to the show office and introduce yourself to all of us. And that's kind of a good start, I would say, right, Hannah, on, what they could work on? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you have any questions, we always like to say, refer to your exhibitor manual first, and then send us an email. Email is the best way to get in touch with us. And then on our next portion of this series, we will be diving into marketing, a little bit more detail on that, social media, images for your online gallery, your exhibitor manual, and your exhibitor portal as well.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.